parts of the program, we explore the Songkran traditions in countries other than Thailand. Then we find out whether trade and investment between Thailand and ASEAN countries have improved. And then we have an exclusive interview with the Thai ambassador to Cambodia. สวัสดีค่ะ I'm Nabunag and welcome to This Week with Thai PBS World. When we think of Songkran or the Thai traditional New Year festival, we would often think about the water fights or even other traditions such as pouring water over the hands of our grandparents to show respect. In fact, Thailand is not the only country that has this water festival. Let's have a look at the other countries that have similar traditions. Although the Songkran festival is Thailand's most famous celebration in the eyes of many foreigners, it is also widely observed across Southeast Asia, such as Myanmar, Cambodia, the Lao PDR, and even some parts of China. We begin in Laos. They call it Pi Mai Lao, celebrated between April 14th and the 16th. Similar to the Songkran festival in Thailand, many people engage in water fights, while other traditions such as pouring scented water over Buddha images or over the hands of elders to pay respect and to seek their blessings for the new year are also common practices. In Myanmar, they call it the Ting Yan Festival, which is celebrated between April 13th and the 16th. Ting Yan also has water fights as well as more traditional ceremonies to wash away bad luck and to welcome the new year. In Cambodia, their New Year celebration is either called Cambodian New Year or Khmer New Year, which runs from April 14th to the 16th. In fact, Khmer New Year and the Water Festival are not the same in Cambodia, as the Cambodian Water Festival, which is a different event, is celebrated in November and it's called Bon Om Tuk, which is focused on traditional boat racing. Apart from neighboring countries, the Water Sprinkling Festival is also celebrated in Yunnan in China, especially in the Sichuan Prefecture and De Hongdai and Jingpo autonomous prefectures, which are home to the ethnic minority Thai people. So you can see that there are some similarities between the peoples of this region, including shared cultural roots as well. As Thailand shares a lot of similarities with neighboring countries in the ASEAN region, in fact, not everyone in Thailand is fully aware of this. Our reporter Gitipat Chunsukjit asked people whether they have any knowledge or interest in the ASEAN region or even neighboring countries.
พอพูดถึงของอาเซียนสิ่งแรกที่นึกถึงก็คือท่านดร.สุรินทร์ พิสุวรรณนะครับอดีตเลขาธิการอาเซียนของไทย
ถ้าพูดถึงอาเซียนก็คือนึกถึงแค่ภาพธงชาติแล้วก็มีการประชุมแค่นั้นแล้วเวลากิจกรรมอะไรเงี้ยก็จะชอบมีหัวข้อเกี่ยวกับอาเซียน
สำหรับเราผมมองว่ามันคือความร่วมมือระหว่างกันในหลายๆด้านนะครับคืออาเซียนเนี่ยมันจะมีทั้งหมด3เสาคือเสาเศรษฐกิจสังคมวัฒนธรรมด้านการเมือง
This year marks 55 years since the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, was formed under the Bangkok Declaration of 8 August 1967 by the 5 founding members: Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. The association has since doubled in size and now includes Brunei Darussalam, Cambodia, the Lao PDR, Myanmar, and Vietnam. With over 600 million inhabitants in the region, the awareness of people about topics related to ASEAN is important. Thai PBS World spoke with people in 3 different careers about their opinions on the strengths and weaknesses of ASEAN.
ความหลากหลายทางเชื้อชาติที่มีชาติพันธุ์อะไรค่อนข้างเยอะมีความมันรวมทั้งหมดนี้ออกกลายเป็น one big family
จุดเด่นของเราน่าจะมองว่าพวกวัฒนธรรมพวกโอกาสในการไปมาหาสู่ในการด้านเศรษฐกิจอะไรพวกเนี้ยที่แบบมันเหมือนเปิดโอกาสให้คนสามารถแบบคือถ้าคนที่จับโอกาสได้เนาะมันสามารถแบบต่อยอดทางอาชีพหรืออะไรอย่างเงี้ยได้มากขึ้น
แต่พอในพูดถึงทางปฏิบัติจริงเนี่ย ผมว่ามันก็ยังไม่หลุดกรอบของความเป็นคู่แข่งกันอยู่ดีในแต่ละประเทศที่ดูเหมือนว่ามารวมกันเป็น10 ประเทศเป็นอาเซียนเป็นครอบครัวเดียวกันแล้วเนี่ยแต่ในความเป็นจริงหลายๆอย่างหลายๆด้านมันก็ยังดูมีความเหลื่อมล้ำมันยังไม่มีอะไรบางอย่างที่มากระตุ้นให้เกิดความรู้สึกว่าเฮ้ยนี่คือพวกเดียวกันนี่คือหลอมรวมเป็น one big family จริงๆ
ถ้าในประเทศไทยเนี่ยอาจจะมองว่ามันไม่ได้เห็นอะไรที่เป็นรูปธรรมมากตอนเริ่มแรกเนี่ยคนจะตื่นเต้นพอเราพูดถึงอาเซียนก็จะผลักดันอะไรกันมากแต่ว่าพอเปิดแล้วเนี่ยในระดับประชาชนผมมองว่ามันไม่ได้มีอะไรที่มันเห็นชัดมากครับ
ถ้าความเป็นอาเซียนมันเป็นอาเซียนจริงๆตามวัตถุประสงค์โควิดมันจะไม่ขนาดนี้มันจะต้องมีความร่วมมือช่วยกันในแบบระหว่างประเทศช่วยกันถ้าอาเซียนมันมีความเป็นอาเซียนจริงๆมันจะมีความช่วยเหลือกันทั้งแบบการแบ่งปันทางการแพทย์ทั้งทางวัคซีนต้องมีการเข้าถึงได้กันมากกว่านี้มากกว่าที่เราเป็นอยู่ทุกๆวันนี้อันนี้เรารู้สึกแบบไม่มีอาเซียน
Though in the eyes of general public, there are many issues that need to be improved, they still seem to believe in the concept and the purpose of ASEAN, that it is still very beneficial for regional economic development. They hope that if ASEAN countries work together, it will be a strong region in the fields of economy, politics, and culture. Kitty Pachil Sukchik, reporting for Thai PBS World.
And now let's have a look at the trade relations between Thailand and ASEAN countries. On this issue, I had a chance to talk to the Associate Professor, Dr. Atpisan Wanit, as to whether the relations have ever improved, including China's influence on the region. Dr. At explained that the trade and investment between Thailand and ASEAN countries in general have somewhat decreased due to the foreign direct investment from China, Japan, and South Korea. In fact, China has more influence over the region in several aspects, whether it's trade, investment, technology, and most importantly, the infrastructure related to the Belt and Road Initiative. China is also the biggest investor in CLMV countries, which are Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and also in Vietnam. Dr. At predicted that the influence that China will have over the ASEAN region will increase even further, partly because of the current Russia-Ukraine war, which will affect the geopolitics, as the United States will have to focus on its ties with Europe at this time.
จีนจะยิ่งมีบทบาทความสำคัญในทุกมิติในอาเซียนและยังประเทศไทยมากขึ้นเพราะอะไรทำไมผมจึงมองงั้นยิ่งกรณีของรัสเซียยูเครนจุดอ่อนของโลกขณะนี้กลายไปอยู่ที่ยุโรปสหรัฐซึ่งภายใต้ท่านไบเดนเห็นอิทธิพลของจีนที่เข้ามาในอาเซียนตั้งแต่สมัยบารักโอบามาแต่วันนี้ด้วยสถานการณ์รัสเซียยูเครนทำให้สหรัฐต้องเบนเข็มทิศทางในการเข้าไปมีบทบาททางด้านเศรษฐกิจและการเมืองและความมั่นคงเนี่ยน้ำหนักโฟกัสเขาจะไปอยู่ที่ยุโรปเมื่อเป็นแบบนี้น้ำหนักในแง่ของทุกอย่างสัพพะกำลังทั้งหมดของสหรัฐนโยบายต่างๆที่บอกว่า pivot of Asia ทั้งหมดของเอเชียเนี่ยจะยิ่งลดบทบาทลงมันก็จะไปเข้าทางประเทศจีนยิ่งทำให้ประเทศจีนเข้ามามีอิทธิพลในอาเซียนมากยิ่งขึ้นทางด้านการค้าการลงทุนอาเซียนก็จะยิ่งพึ่งพิงประเทศจีนมากขึ้น
Interestingly, if we go back around 10 years ago, Thailand was very hyped about becoming part of the ASEAN Economic Community, or the AEC, in 2015, which is aimed at enhancing economic cooperation. Although Thailand succeeded in creating awareness back then, Dr. At said that the hype has faded over time and nothing has changed much, whether it's the level of trade or even the Thai people's mindset on neighboring countries. He also believes that Thai people need to change the mindset that they have with neighboring countries and, most importantly, learn the languages of ASEAN member countries. And this will help Thailand enhance more opportunities in doing business with them.
อันดับแรกเลยผมคิดว่าความคิดของคนไทยมุมมองของคนไทยเนี่ยต่อประเทศเพื่อนบ้านเนี่ยต้องเปลี่ยนโดยด่วนทำไมผมเป็นอย่างนี้ผมว่าอันนี้สำคัญเพราะว่า ถ้าเราเปลี่ยนความคิดเราเปลี่ยน mindset ของเราใหม่มันจะทำให้เราเห็นโอกาสการค้าการลงทุนความร่วมมือกับประเทศเพื่อนบ้านทางด้านธุรกิจอุตสาหกรรมการเกษตรมากกว่าที่เป็นอยู่ปัจจุบันอย่าลืมว่าถ้าเราพูดกันแฟร์ๆนะวันนี้เผลอประเทศเพื่อนบ้านโดยเฉพาะยิ่งเวียดนามเนี่ยแซงประเทศไทยไปหลายเรื่องแซงเรื่องเม็ดเงินที่เข้ามาในเวียดนามสูงกว่าไทยแซงมูลค่าของการส่งออกสูงกว่าไทย2ภาษาประเทศเพื่อนบ้านเราสนใจ2ภาษาอังกฤษกับภาษาจีนแต่เราไม่สนใจภาษาประเทศเพื่อนบ้านแต่ประเทศเพื่อนบ้านสนใจภาษาไทยเพราะนั้นเวลาข้อมูลต่างๆที่เผยแพร่ในเว็บไซต์ไทยเขาก็จะรู้หมดขณะเดียวกันข้อมูลต่างๆที่เผยแพร่ไม่ว่าจะเป็นภาษาบาซานะมาเลอินโดภาษาเขมรนะฮะภาษาเวียดนามเราไม่สามารถอ่านได้ถ้าเราเปลี่ยนตรงนี้ได้มันจะทำให้เราเห็นโอกาสการค้าการลงทุนนะและความร่วมมือที่สำคัญก็คือเป็นความร่วมมือในการพัฒนาเศรษฐกิจซึ่งกันและกันมันจะทำให้คนไทยนะครับเห็นโอกาสแล้วก็มองเดินไปด้วยกันกับประเทศในอาเซียนได้มากกว่า
According to data from the Department of Trade Negotiations that were revealed earlier this year, the trade between Thailand and 18 countries with a free trade agreement or FTA for 2021, including ASEAN countries, has increased by 24% from the previous year, while the exports to those countries increased by 19% from the year before. And if we look specifically at Thailand's exports to ASEAN countries back in 2021, it has increased by 17% from the year before. Thailand's exports to the Philippines increased the most by 40%, followed by Malaysia, Laos PDR, Indonesia, Myanmar, and Vietnam. And to shed more light on Thailand's awareness of the ASEAN region, Hatthai Teshikit Tiranan talked to the Deputy Director of the Southeast Asian Studies at Chulalongkorn University as to whether the interest in the ASEAN region as well as the languages have ever increased.
So what are the significance and relevance of the region for both ASEAN nationals and internationally?
These days, ASEAN has become part of our life. The connectivity of ASEAN has been realized among Thai society greatly. If we compare from 2015, the ASEAN community up until now, 7 years already, Thai society have come far enough.
What would you say the trend for internal mobility would look like in the near future?
This COVID-19 have impact upon all of us in terms of mobility, and it made us realize more and more of the free mobility, free movement of people. Still, I believe mobility will increase.
You would say that the awareness that each national of ASEAN would have of each other is even more significant.
Right. It's been, we thought that COVID-19 causes the halt of all the movement, but actually it made us realize the significance of movement really more and more.
And what can you say, Professor, about the interest in Southeast Asian studies among Thais and on the nationals of ASEAN or even non-ASEAN nationals? What are the students' ratios at the faculty, and is the trend on the rise?
We at the Chulalongkorn University, we are master's degree program. We have more ASEAN and Chinese students than Thai students. But I've heard that in some bachelor degree program have a lot of Thai students who are interested in taking Southeast Asian studies. Ratio of students, I would say 90% of our students are Chinese. Unbelievable, isn't it? And very few Thai.
So the interest is
very high among foreign students.
So what about the interest in learning Thai and ASEAN languages?
Language learning among Thai people regarding neighboring countries' language has increased significantly, mainly for job opportunity. most of the people I've met and I asked why did you take Burmese language, Cambodian language, they look towards job opportunity. But the interest in culture, it is not Thai people feel that they know so much about neighboring countries, but actually they know very little about culture and way of life of our neighbors.
So would you say the Thais are lagging behind in their awareness?
Sure. I have met more foreign students who have more knowledge about Thai culture and Thai society than the Thai students who understand our neighboring countries' culture and society. I think we have tried since 2015. There are much more people seeking knowledge about ASEAN, but still, actually these days, the level of knowledge has increased, still not enough, I think. Culture is almost everything. When we deal with each other, when we have more mobility, we need to understand their culture, their thinking, their belief, so that the connectivity could go deeply, uninterrupted, and less conflict, more tolerance towards each other.
So what do you think the government, the authorities, or even civil society can do to help increase, such awareness and knowledge of each other?
I think so far teaching in school is not enough. I've seen TV programs. I used to see ASEAN program that could help a lot. I think that's very, very useful to know what's happening in other countries.
Well, of course, learning a new language would be a very important skill. And if we can learn the languages from the ASEAN region, whether it is Malaysian, Indonesian, or even Vietnamese, that will actually increase the chances that Thailand can do business with these countries as well. And now let's have a look at the other stories in our weekly roundup.
Anti-establishment demonstrators celebrated Songkran on Bangkok's Ratchadamnoon Avenue on Wednesday with a political message. They poured water on the Democracy Monument, drenched each other with buckets of water, and played with water guns, all in defiance of the government's anti-COVID no water splashing restriction. They said the water pouring on the monument signifies their faith in democracy and because there is nobody in the government that they trust or who are worthy of their respect. Progressive movement leader Thanathorn Juangroongruangkit was indicted on lèse-majesté and computer crime charges on Monday for his live stream talk last year on the subject of the AstraZeneca vaccine, allegedly implicating the monarchy. The former leader of the now-defunct Future Forward Party criticized the government for the delay in the procurement of COVID-19 vaccines and for relying too much on the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is supplied by Thai firm Siam Bioscience. The cabinet has approved a 211 million baht budget for a study of the safety and efficacy of a plant-based candidate subunit vaccine in boosting the body's immune response to COVID-19, the first such vaccine in Thailand being developed by Thai startup Bayer Phytopharm. The firm and the National Vaccine Institute have been instructed to expedite implementation of the third phase of the vaccine program. Phase 1 of human trials was completed in December last year. According to Bayer CEO, all the volunteers are safe.
And now it's time for the ambassador, where Tulip Nasompopblau talked to the Thai ambassador in Cambodia in terms of the relations between the two countries.
I began my foreign service career as a Cambodian desk officer. That was more than 30 years ago. And at that time, I did not have any chance to travel to Cambodia. And life has come into full circle when I was appointed ambassador to Cambodia.
His Excellency Panyarak Punsap was appointed to the post in Phnom Penh more than 4 years ago. He arrived in February 2018, and this is his last year in the country. His job as a young officer on the Cambodia desk in Bangkok back in the day was during the time when many Cambodians were fleeing to Thailand from the violence in their own country. Most of the friends he made back then have now moved back to Cambodia and are in high-ranking positions in many of Cambodia's agencies.
I would miss them very much because they are all my friends close to my heart.
Sharing an 817 kilometers border, Panyarak said Thailand's foreign policy has always given importance to neighboring countries, and Cambodia is one of them.
Due to the COVID pandemic, there were a big gap of exchange of visits for more than 2 years. So when both countries are opening up, Thai senior officials or the military people chose to visit Cambodia as the first country. This year, Cambodia is the ASEAN chair, which has many activities going on. We have witnessed many high-level visits from Thailand.
In March alone, Cambodia hosted a visit by the Thai Army Commander-in-Chief, the Deputy Commissioner of the Police, the Naval Commander-in-Chief, and the Chief of Defense Forces. Thailand and Cambodia celebrated the 70th anniversary of their diplomatic relations on the 19th of December 2020. Though it was during the pandemic, the embassy organized as many events as they could, with some projects still ongoing.
We have contributed many human resource development projects, capacity building. We have donated several facilities along the border to help Cambodia cope with COVID-19 because there are many cross-border travel between the two countries. We also train skilled laborers so that when they go to work in Thailand, they have enoug skills to cope with the factories and the new technology in working in factories in Thailand. And also Her Royal Highness Princess Mahachakri Sirinthorn, she has built 2 institutes of technology in Cambodia. One is in Kampong Speu and the other one is Kampong Chotiel. It's a vocational training institute which help build capacity for Cambodians. Since the median age of Cambodians are 25 years old, so these people will be a very efficient workforce for the country and also in other countries in this area as well.
When we asked him what he thinks is the charm of Cambodia, Panyarak said it's the people.
We are neighboring countries. We share many similarities. We have many interactions. So the hearts and minds of the Khmer people are with the Thai people. As Cambodia is a kingdom of wonder, there are many charms, but the charms is the people, the Khmer people. They are very friendly, they are generous, and they are very accessible.
Since March, Cambodia has allowed foreign visitors into the country without having to take pre- and post-departure COVID-19 tests, and no more quarantine for fully vaccinated travelers. Panyarak said it is a good opportunity for Thais to come to visit and see what opportunities lie in Cambodia. After all, products from Thailand have always been popular among Cambodia's consumers.
As Somdet Prime Minister Hun Sen said recently, Thailand and Cambodia is enjoying excellent relations. So it's a very good opportunity for Thais to take advantage to visit Cambodia and see for their own eyes what opportunities lie here, whether economic or starting any new business here, because the average age of Cambodians are 25. They would be a very excellent buyers in the future.
Tulip Nak Sompop Lao, Thai PBS World.
And now it's time for Homeaway, where Talat Laktanwanpen talked to a Vietnamese student living in Thailand as she talks about her life away from her hometown in Hanoi.
Hello everyone, my name is Honey, but you can call me Hong in Thai.
Apart from being one of the most popular tourist destinations, Thailand is also a country in which international students are interested. 21-year-old Vietnamese Hang Thi Nguyen is one such student who had an opportunity to move to Thailand to pursue her studies in Bangkok. Granted the Princess Mahachakri Sirinthorn Scholarship, Hang is now a food business management sophomore at Jilada Institute of Technology in Bangkok, Thailand.
Actually, that time I find some other scholarship to study abroad, but I ran into the scholarship. I know about the scholarship of the princess through my old teacher, Thailand, and the scholarship chose me because I've heard about Thai and see and watch Thai movies.
Though she was only 18 when she won the scholarship, an age considered relatively young for Asian middle-class teenagers to leave home, Hang didn't hesitate.
I don't think so much about far from home or language barrier. I want to give me an opportunity to have new experience in new country. Then I decided to come here, and I'm grateful about that decision and about the opportunities that the princess gave me because now I'm happy here. My major is about food business management, Thai tourism and hospitality, not just famous in Vietnam, you're famous in all over the world. And I think that there are many interesting things about culture through food, and I think I interested in food too. So I think this is a good place to learn to study about my major.
Hang has already signed a contract with a multinational company where she will be working after she graduates. It could be in Vietnam, Thailand, or a third country, but right now, Hang said she's living in the moment and trying to enjoy Bangkok and Thailand as much as possible. She started a YouTube channel to share her experience of life here too. Hang is also a very good Thai speaker, picking up the skills from when she was doing a part-time job at a restaurant run by her school.
พี่เคยมีโอกาสที่ไปเที่ยวประเทศเวียดนามไหมคะ
ไม่เคยค่ะไม่เคย
แล้วพี่
ทำไมพูดภาษาไทยเก่งอะคะ
คือแบบเวลาที่หนูมาเรียนที่เมืองไทยใช่ไหมคะตอนแรกก็จะได้มีโอกาสที่ทำงานที่ร้านอาหารของโรงเรียนก็เลยแบบถูกพูดบ่อยๆพูดแต่ละวันทุกวันเลยค่ะแล้วหนูปกติหนูก็เป็นคนที่แบบคุยเก่งพูดเยอะอยู่แล้วก็เลยได้ฝึกไปเรื่อยๆค่ะหนูยังจำได้อยู่เลยแบบคือตอนนั้นมีอาหารกะเพราใช่ไหมครับผัดกะเพราหนูเพิ่งฝึกเขียนภาษาไทยแล้วหนูก็เขียนเป็นผัดกะเพราเสร็จแล้วแบบทุกคนในครัวหัวเราะหนูหมดเลยแต่ว่ามันก็สนุกดีหนูไม่รู้สึกอายเวลาที่หนูพูดผิดหรือว่าเขียนผิดเพื่อนหัวเราะหนูแต่ว่าหลังจากนั้นเพื่อนก็แบบมันต้องเป็นแบบนี้นะถึงถูกหนูก็ได้แบบเรื่อยๆค่ะ
Arriving in Thailand late 2019, most of Hang's time in Thailand has been spent under lockdown. She hadn't been able to travel as much as she would have liked, but at least in Bangkok, Hang tried to explore the city and its culture as much as the situation allowed. Among her favorite places are parks and night markets.
ถ้ามีงานใกล้ๆนี้ก็แวะมากินข้าวหรือกินน้ำเดินเล่นค่ะตอนที่หนูอยู่เวียดนามหนูไม่ได้ไปเดินค่ะทำไมอ่ะใช่เพราะว่าแบบหนูเรียนถึงตอนดึกๆตอนที่หนูมาประเทศไทยนี้ถึงแบบเที่ยวบ่อยใส่เที่ยวตอนอยู่เวียดนามแบบเป็นสายเรียนค่ะ
จะได้อยู่เมืองไทยประมาณ5ปีใช่ไหมคะที่ได้ทุนประมาณ4 ปีครึ่ง5 ปีป่ะใช่คิดว่าแบบมันคุ้มค่าไหมแบบที่มาแบบรู้สึกชอบหรือว่ามีอะไรที่ไม่ชอบไหม
หนูไม่ชอบแค่เรื่องอากาศค่ะเรื่องอากาศมันร้อนแต่นอกจากนั้นแบบเรื่องเพื่อนเรื่องอาจารย์เรื่องคนไทยที่นี่หรือว่าแบบของจีนอะไรต่างๆหนูแบบชอบมากเลยแล้วก็หนูก็มีความรู้สึกว่าเรายังไงเราก็มีโอกาสที่จะมาเรียนที่นี่แล้วก็ต้องใช้เวลาให้คุ้มค่ะหนูก็เลยแบบมีกิจกรรมอะไรที่สถาบันหนูก็ไปร่วมโหมดเผื่อแบบได้เรียนรู้ว่าทำของเมืองไทย
Chalalakjan Wanpen reporting for Thai PBS World.
And that wraps up tonight's edition of This Week with Thai PBS World. Join us every Friday at 10:30 p.m. only on Thai PBS. And don't forget to follow us on social media, including our website, thaipbsworld.com, for all the latest updates as well as analyses. Thanks for watching and have a great holiday. สวัสดีค่ะ.
Happy Songkran from all of us at the Thai PBS World.
Songkran is a traditional Thai New Year festival which is not only about the water fights, but it's also about spending time with your family.
It is a great time to let the showers of Songkran wash away your sorrows
and to nurture new beginnings.
Even though we cannot enjoy the famous wet and wild water splashing this year because of the COVID-19 restrictions,
we can still hold traditional celebrations to welcome the new year.
One way to celebrate Songkran is to gently pour water over the hands of your parents, grandparents, or anyone you look up to express gratitude and receive their blessings in return.
Have a great holiday and be sure to stay safe.
And we wish you a blessed and prosperous year ahead. Songkran!
สุดสัปดาห์นี้เอาใจคอ